Hello, and welcome to Once More Unhinged, our weekly chat show where we get together to discuss whatever we're reading, watching, listening to, or engaging with this week. I'm Jen Katz.
And I'm Ryan something.
Hello.
Hello, Jenny.
You taking a turn around a ballroom recently?
I've not, unfortunately.
Had a cup of tea?
I have.
Schemed?
Most mornings. Not schemed, but have had tea. Yes.
Yep.
I've been watching Bridgerton.
I finished it like a week ago, and you just finished it as of when? Yesterday?
Yes. Was it yesterday? No, Saturday night, I think it was. Yes. So you watched it with your gal pals.
I did.
And I was late to season 3, but I am caught up on season 1, 2, and Queen Charlotte, which was such a lovely...
What a surprise that show was. It was so good.
Lovely little placeholder for all the Bridgerton seasons. And I want them to do one on Lady Danbury.
I want Lady Danbury and I want Lady Bridgerton.
I definitely want Lady Bridgerton.
I love Violet. I love Violet.
She's great. And we'll get into that.
We shall.
Okay.
Let's get into it. Or should I say, let's get into it?
Cheerio.
Cheerio.
Right. Quite right.
Okay, Ryan, what are we currently unhinged about this week?
We are currently obsessed with Bridgerton season 3 this week. So,
we sure are.
Spoiler warning. Today we'll be discussing the first 4 episodes of Bridgerton season 3, as well as major events from season 1 and season 2, as well as Queen Charlotte series. There will be more spoilers than scheming mamas trying to marry off their daughters. I see what you did there, Jenny.
Say mamas, scheming mamas.
You've been warned.
Okay, so today we'll be discussing Bridgerton, which is an American historical romance television series created by Chris Van Dusen for Netflix, based off of a book series by Julia Quinn. And this is produced by Shondaland, who is Shonda.
I'm sorry.
Shondaland is the production company owned by Shonda Rhimes, probably best well known for being the showrunner for Grey's Anatomy. Yes. And so Shonda Rhimes signed a huge deal with Netflix, and this is the first... Season 1 of Bridgerton was the first scripted show that came out of that deal.
Any relation to Busta?
You would have to ask. Not sure. Okay. Set in the 1800s in an alternative version of Regency London.
Which I love.
Love it.
You've got more diversity.
Yes.
Here.
Basically, the premise of the show is you're in the social season where young marriageable girls are presented to the queen
Eligible
and
bachelorettes.
Yeah. Well, they're presented to eligible bachelors. Basically, it's all about girls making their debuts and trying to get husbands.
That's right.
And
so they can get married off, so they can have some sort of fortune or some sort of
that's
quality
all you needed
lifestyle.
As a woman.
Right.
Yeah, that's all women were supposed to do back then. Be noble ladies of leisure, marry a rich husband, and
have babies,
and then present your babies to the queen and so on. So season 1 premiered in 2020. And I think, again, you were the first person to tell us about Bridgerton. We were all hanging out, me, you, and my husband. And we all watched it together and just blew through it. I loved it immediately. I'm a historical fiction girly. Give me any kind of like Regency, Georgian, Victorian, whatever romance in England, I'm in.
Same.
And season 1, we follow Daphne Bridgerton, the eldest daughter of the Bridgerton clan, who is the sparkling diamond of the debut season.
Love Daphne.
And her back and forth with Simon, the Duke of Hastings, played by Regé-Jean Page, who is...
Lots of back and forth, lots of up and down, lots of here and there.
Those two had so much chemistry. Phoebe Dynevor and Regé-Jean Page.
Well done, Netflix.
Well done. And
those two.
That show was a hit. It was a runaway hit. It was during COVID. So everybody's watching TV. And then we go into season 2, which is now helmed by Anthony Bridgerton, played by Jonathan Bailey, who I adore. He's the eldest Bridgerton, and his romance with Kate Sharma, played by the stunningly beautiful Simone Ashley.
She is beautiful.
This show is just chock full of beautiful,
good-looking people, and good-looking settings, and good-looking costumes.
Oh yeah,
for the most part.
Well, yeah. So season 1, I feel like, was filmed before COVID, and it definitely feels that way. It feels more lived in. Season 2 was filmed, I think, when COVID restrictions were easing up, and you can tell.
Yeah.
And then season 3, which we'll get into in a minute. So I have not read the books. Have you read any of the books?
I've not, but we have a mutual friend who has.
Yes. Hello, Anne.
And so we've been schooled.
We have
some of the background that the show leaves out. So that's very helpful.
It is.
To have the context, because when you don't, you're just watching the show. You're going based upon what was written and what got to the screen and how it was played by the actors. So there is a lot that could be interpreted and a lot to be desired in certain places.
Yes.
So Bridgerton season 3 delves into the complex love lives of Bridgerton's siblings, with Colin and Penelope's rocky relationship taking center stage. So if you've seen season 1 and 2, you know that Colin and Penelope have been very close friends and neighbors, but there's always been a bit of an unrequited love from Penelope's side toward Colin.
She has
and there's been zero indication that Colin has the same interest in her. But he's always been very kind to her and has not treated her the way that the rest of the Ton has.
Right, because Penelope, and again, this is supposed to be the perspective of the 1800s, not my personal feelings. She is not considered conventionally beautiful like Phoebe Danvers, Daphne. She's not rail thin. Her mother has her dressed up in truly atrocious clothing and hairstyles. And so, she's not somebody Colin Bridgerton would typically probably go for.
Right.
Yeah.
So amidst the societal pressures and the personal struggles, the season explores themes of love, identity, forgiveness, and with the ever charismatic queen, and also with Lady Danbury and some new intriguing characters, this season to me was a blend of drama and romance and captivating trysts.
Yeah.
So
listen, that carriage scene, I had to watch it 3 times for science just to make sure I didn't miss anything.
For science, ma'am.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So
your thoughts after watching it with your gal pals?
So yes, again, my gal pals, which shout out. This is the Bridgerton coffee mug from the Bridgerton Target collaboration. We had a whole thing. We had pajamas. We ate English food. So I watched with my gal pals, and these 2 gal pals have read the books. They love the books, know the books backwards and forwards. I have never read the books. I came to Bridgerton solely from Netflix, and we all 3 were very much like, oh my God, this is so good. I really enjoyed seeing Penelope take initiative of her own life. Changing her wardrobe and her hair and deciding, okay, I'm not going to just sit back and be the wallflower gazing longingly across the street at Colin Bridgerton's house.
Right.
I liked that.
Okay.
However, on the same side of that coin, she's taking initiative in some aspects, but she's still not in other ways, right?
To me, it's the intention behind her initiative that she is finally decided to move forward and to put herself back out there for a 3rd year.
Yes, which is
in the season, which is
spinster age.
Absurd. To me, it's less of a place of I'm going to go after this man and I'm going to take control of my life, to a reaction from her mother telling her in the first episode, I'm so excited that we'll always be together and always have you to take care of me.
Yeah.
And in that moment, she realized this is not the life that I want. So she was a bit provoked by her mom.
But she still chose to do something about it.
She did.
Yeah.
I'm glad that she did that because she deserves it. It's my understanding that she glowed up in a different way in the book.
Yes.
Versus how they portray the character on screen.
Yeah.
And I actually like how it is. I think she's just an absolutely beautiful person.
Well, it took 10 years in the book, and I'm going to butcher this. So if you're reading the books,
sorry,
we don't know. We're going off of secondhand information. Right. So yeah, I mean, she kind of glows up.
Glows up. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah. And it's like a 10-year span.
Right.
And, my thing is I love seeing Penelope take initiative. What I don't like is I'm all for a character wanting love and passion and romance and excitement in her life. And she was not going to get that with Lord Debling, 1, because he's gone too much. And 2, she didn't feel that. But I feel like she keeps making... I feel like they're presenting her and Colin not almost as like these star-crossed lovers that need to be together like they did with, you know, Daphne and Simon and Kate and Anthony. It almost feels like she's pined after him for so long. She can't let it go.
Yeah.
Now now that he sees that she's maybe going to be with someone else, he's like, oh, wait, that part didn't hit to me. I think they have amazing chemistry. Luke Newton is the actor who plays Colin Bridgerton. Nicola Coughlan, who plays Penelope. I think they have great chemistry together. It almost felt like I wanted a little bit more for Penelope at the end of the day than to be with Colin Bridgerton. I don't know. Maybe I'll feel differently because we haven't seen the whole season. There's still 4 more episodes to go that are dropping, I think, June 13th or in a few weeks. But
I don't think that they have chemistry.
This is so interesting to me.
I do think that they show enormous chemistry off screen. Social media, the whole publicity tour.
Yeah.
They've got it. And it's very charming to watch. And I wish that we had an ounce of that in the portrayal between these two characters, because I'm just not seeing it. And the way that it's been set up with some of the disparaging remarks that he made against her last season, his lack of enthusiasm when she does put herself out there. And, you know, there wasn't really a, hey, I wrote you because I like you, or I wrote you because I'm interested in you. There wasn't any of that from him. There was her literally begging him when she got her feelings hurt and she was feeling really down. And his initial response wasn't lean in and go for the kiss like you would expect with two couples this couple that's got this enormous chemistry. It was I kind of need to stew on this, and is this the best decision? And it just didn't seem like it was there.
Yeah.
I do see by the time we get to the end of episode 4 that there is that chemistry that we're seeing offline between these two individuals.
Yeah.
But I don't see it in their characters. The way that the characters were written and portrayed, I just don't see it. The relationship between Colin and Penelope feels forced at times, with moments that should be romantic instead of feeling uncomfortable, which is absolutely how I felt in episode 1 and 2 and parts of episode 3. So Colin's reluctance to reciprocate Penelope's affections without her begging feels particularly off-putting to me. Where's the chemistry? Because I'm not buying it. I know what you're saying. And according to the books, there's more of a slow burn kind of build up to that's more believable. But based upon what we're kind of seeing here, I'm just a little bit disappointed. I want Penelope to find love. I want to see where this story goes with her coming into her own without her family.
Yeah.
You know, it's very much the Cinderella story of the wicked stepmother with the 2 wicked stepsisters, but this is her actual family.
Right.
But they treat her like dirt. So I want that love for her, but I don't want her to settle for it. I want it to be truly romantic and that chemistry and that spark be there. And I'm not saying that friends, longtime friends can't have that, because I do believe that they can. They can absolutely have love for one another, but crossing over into something that seems to be a bit more romantic. But I don't see that spark and that chemistry that we have felt with the other love interest from season 1 and 2, and even in Queen Charlotte with her husband.
Oh, I want to rewatch Queen Charlotte.
Yeah.
No, I agree with the comment about some of it feeling forced. There's a specific scene where they're in the drawing room or the office, I can't remember, at Bridgerton house, and he cuts his hand and she's like, Colin, let me. I'm like, guys, I'm
not buying it.
That was,
that wasn't romantic. Someone cut their hand and you're going to wrap it in a towel. And I didn't feel anything.
And just
in
that
moment.
touch is like enough. I'm with you.
I was hoping that they would go somewhere with like him writing and her being a writer. I'm like, okay, great. They're going to have that mental connection, and, you know, kind of soulmate in that sort of regard. So I want that for her and hope that she gets it. But for instance, Francesca Bridgerton. Okay.
Talk about a glow up.
It's like, where'd she come from?
Yeah. Weren't you 2 years old last season? What's going on?
You know, she is favored to be the diamond of the season by the queen and by others, but she doesn't really have much of an interest. And in fact, my first few initial reactions of seeing her go to these balls and have zero interest was like, wait, is she asexual? Like, is she just like not interested?
Oh, see, I think
and
she's
it'd be
on
great
the
to have a
spectrum.
character. Yeah. And or is she on the spectrum? Because it's great to have a character who's like, hey, I don't need all that.
Yeah.
I'm cool with myself. I've got my life. But you see the chemistry and the spark when Lord John Sterling comes into play in her life. He's
is he the Earl?
Lord John Sterling, Earl of Kilmartin, I think is his name.
But okay, right. Yeah, every time they say Lord Kilmartin.
Yes, but they share that tender, believable to me chemistry. Their quiet moments together when they're standing outside of the ball, and it's just being together. That is deeply resonated with me. To me, that was like believable chemistry. And it didn't have to be like hot and bothered like some of the other seasons were. But this to me was believable. And him hearing her when she's talking about, hey, that song would be so much better if it was rearranged. And he just takes off because he's listening to her. He cares about her. There is chemistry there. And when he comes back to the ball, he hands her the music and then she goes home and she plays it. That's a connection.
Yeah.
That is believable to me.
Ooh, buddy. I by the way, I do love what they're doing with Francesca and Lord Kilmartin. I hope that there is going to be, maybe it doesn't need to be explicit, but when we were watching it, I thought maybe she is slightly on the spectrum. And again, neither one of us are any type of psychological healthcare professional, so we understand we are not able to diagnose people, but it's nice to see somebody who's like, she's going through the motions. Yeah. She's not, we had Eloise last season who's pouting and fighting and she's mad and like poo-pooing everything. Francesca just goes along with it. She's not into it necessarily, and she wants to just kind of be left alone. And she does seem like someone who has maybe some sensory overload, likes to be quiet. Like she doesn't have to sit with somebody and have, a sparky conversation back and forth. Like she is someone who could just sit with someone she loves in the silence.
It's kind of that peace. Growing up in a big household, I can imagine that she probably requires
she's a middle child. So
And then there's Eloise with her writing and her love of, that sort of dynamic. So the standout performances for me are the Queen, played by Golda Rosheuvel. Rosheuvel.
She's great.
I love her. I know she has limited lines, but she steals the scene every time. Her and Lady Danbury.
Yeah, Agatha Danbury is a favorite. I want to go back to Colin and Penelope because you brought up something that the gals and I were all talking about, which was Penelope asking Colin to kiss her. Mm-hmm. The good doctor, who's a friend of ours, she hated that scene. Basically, you and her on the exact same page.
I squirmed.
The rest of us were like,
it made me so uncomfortable.
It did not bother me because I feel like Penelope genuinely believes that Colin Bridgerton will never like her. She's probably ruined her chances at ever being with a man because this is 1800s, right? She's not going to go have an affair. She's expected to be married, and any kind of physical intimacy is going to be with a husband. So she, I think, genuinely feels she's going to be a lonely spinster taking care of her mother and her crazy ass sisters with their stuff.
Agreed. Yeah.
And so I think she took the bull by the horns and was like, look, I'm just going to straight up ask you, because we're not going to dance around politeness and, let me brush my hand with your glove, all that stuff. She wanted to be kissed, and she asked the person she has lusted after for years to kiss her. Call it whatever you want. I actually thought it was a bold thing for someone of this time period to do, who genuinely was like, I'm never going to get this. No one's going to marry me. Probably going to die alone. I have lusted after Colin Bridgerton forever now. And he could have been well within his rights to say no. Yeah. He didn't. They kissed. And like, I admire that. Like, I think people in real life, even today, should be more communicative on, I need to be kissed, or I need to do this and do that. I loved it. And my other gal pals, we loved it. But I can see the other side of it too. Yeah. So
felt real beggy to me. It didn't seem like it was something that was like, I'm taking the bull by the horns. It felt like,
you didn't think she was desperate at all?
I do feel like she was very desperate, but I feel like this scene was so uncomfortable to me. I'm like, I thought no one should have to beg for affection from someone that they love. No one should have to beg for affection in that sort of way. This seemed kind of beneath her to have to do that. And I hated that for her, because I want so much for that character. She's so strong as Lady Whistledown. She is such a strong character behind the pen.
But it's the 1800s. They're not going around just making out with each other with people of nobility. They're going to the brothels. Colin's having threesomes and all kinds of stuff.
Colin's finding his.
But are those noble ladies?
Well, hey, that's a different story. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think people are being like a little harsh and not necessarily thinking about where she is in her status in life.
I can see that. But I believe that we've seen that take the bull by the horns mentality from some of the other characters in previous seasons. But this just seemed really sad.
I think it is sad,
And I felt like she, as a character, deserves more.
I didn't take it like that. It didn't seem like a pity kiss. It seemed like okay, wasn't expecting that. Yeah. When they started kissing, it seemed there was some sparks. And those sparks continued into a carriage scene.
It did leave a good taste in his mouth. Come back. And he did. He came back for more. But Colin's mixed feelings toward Penelope. And we know how he feels about Lady Whistledown. And so that's going to be some drama coming forward.
I want to know what your thoughts are, your theories are about the reveal.
But they make this deal. This is before the kissing scene. But they make this deal that he's going to tutor her. Okay. She doesn't need to be tutored. She's Lady Whistledown. She knows the ton and how all of this operates better than anybody else. If anyone's doing the tutoring, it should be her. Period.
You would think. Okay. I go back and forth on it because that was my first act. I'm like, she's been watching. She should know how to flirt for years. Manipulate to the best of them.
She does know. She watches it. She writes about it. And I don't know. It creates a very complicated narrative.
I agree with that. My thing with the Lady Whistledown of it all, I get it to an extent. I mean, my first reaction was like, okay, wait a second. How can she be this inept at flirting, at getting a husband?
Especially after 3 seasons.
But there are people who write novels and who have, personalities online or who are actors and who have a public persona, but in their real lives aren't like that.
Sure.
And so it could be a little bit of that. And also, I mean, she can't. People expect Penelope to be a little bit bumbling and a little bit awkward, and no one knows she's Lady Whistledown except for Eloise. And so I don't know that I have nitpickies with how she can be so aware as Lady Whistledown and then just so socially awkward. But again, we know people who are public people. Sure. When you get them one-on-one, they are not confident. They're not good at conversation.
She's talking about me, everybody.
This is a Ryan intervention podcast.
Thank you.
That annoyed me, but what's really bothering me, and I want to get into your thoughts on this. How are they going to handle her being Lady Whistledown? Because she ruined his engagement in season 1.
Did you watch the preview for the next
episode? How do you build a relationship on that big of a breach of trust and a manipulation? Because remember season 1, he was going to propose to Marina Featherington, the cousin, and Lady Whistledown.
She outed her.
That's awful. No, that is awful to do.
I think she's just got to be forthright, and I think Eloise is going to pull that out of her, or if not, she's going to threaten to expose her.
I hope.
And, I mean, it's, hey, you've been, if you want to grow up, if you want to take charge of your life, if you're going to take the bull by the horns, and you got to be able to take the responsibility of fessing up to some of the stuff that you did to this person that you love and be like, hey, I'm sorry, but when I did it, it wasn't the intention to hurt you.
But she did know it would hurt him.
Yeah, well.
That's my issue because he was in love with Marina. She knew that this would break off the engagement and his feelings would be hurt.
Here's where I think we might be missing some stuff that was in the books that kind of lead you down this path in a more eloquent way than we are seeing with the show. Okay, I have a standout moment of really good writing in this show. And I love it. It's very relatable. Colin's introspective moments, particularly his conversation about the loneliness of maintaining a cavalier facade and his mom's poignant speech.
I love their scenes together.
About his sensitivity.
Yes.
Was so touching and pretty relatable, to be honest. So there's this scene where Colin is at the club with his boys, and they're sharing their stories from their summer loving, had me a blast. It's very Grease.
It really is.
And this is when he's starting to...
He's struggling with his feelings.
He's struggling with his feelings toward Penelope, where he's like, hey, do I really want to have menage a trois for the rest of the summer? Or there's this person who knows me, who loves me. And I think this is where he's starting to see it. He's like, aha. And what he says was to the fellas, forgive me, but it is tiring, is it not? The necessity imposed on us to remain cavalier about the one thing in life that holds genuine meaning. Do you not find that lonely?
That's so good.
That hit so hard because growing up in that society in particular, I mean, it is the patriarchy.
It is. And patriarchy does not only hurt women.
It does not. It hurts men. And so here we are in 2024. You could still have the same conversation with your bros.
1000%
about this.
Yes.
And it's just very relatable. And it hit. And it's like, it's so refreshing to hear a strong male lead say something like this. So whoever wrote this, bravo. This is great. Because I do feel it, Colin. It can be very lonely when you're not in that like, mentality with your bro friends. Crazy. And his mother's response to his anguish.
She's so brilliant.
This is so great. She says, you've always been one of my most sensitive children, always aware of what others need, always trying to be helpful or to offer a joke or to lighten the mood. You so rarely put yourself first. I'm so proud of your sensitivity, but living to please others, I imagine it can be wearing at times, painful perhaps. So I don't blame you for putting on armor lately because he's real salty.
Yeah.
He's in his feels and he doesn't really know how to like come out of this. But you must be careful that the armor does not rust and set, that so that you might never be able to take it off.
Whoo.
Whoever wrote these two scenes with Colin and what he's struggling with, this is believable to me.
It's 1000%.
This is someplace to go. And it's like, okay, cool. Now let's go down that road of like, hey, finding that true love and opening yourself up to those feelings. I would pay someone to say this to me regularly.
Yeah.
Wait, I do. I pay my therapist.
No, I know.
And she does, but this is just so good to hear. This is why I love the show. This to me is the true meat. I don't know if this came from the book. I don't know if this was written for the show.
Yeah.
But to me, I love this. Especially for the time period. And
because this would have probably not been a conversation.
Imagine
the mother wouldn't have been having a conversation with her son.
No, talking about feelings. Lady Bridgerton is so loving.
She's a lovely character, and I'm so glad we have her. And
she's not perfect, but she's
a
beautiful person.
Who amongst us are? No, the part of I am proud of your sensitivity. I mean, if I had a nickel for every time I wish someone had said that to me growing up, and my sensitivity was always weaponized. Yeah. So that's so good.
Okay.
I have a question for you. For it. How do you think? What is your theory? Again, we have not read the books. I roughly know what happens in the books, but I don't think that's what they're going to do in the show. Okay. So my theory is not based off the books. What do you think? How do you think the reveal will come out of Penelope being Lady Whistledown? And what do you think will happen after the fact?
So we've seen in the trailer that the Queen offers a $5,000 reward. £5,000 reward. And everyone starts kind of scrambling.
So the Cowper is ready.
Cressida's like, I got to have that money.
Yeah.
And hey, by the way, speaking of her, I had my apprehensions at first when we start the season and she's hanging out with Eloise, or Eloise has ingratiated herself into that female friend group because she's no longer friends with Penelope anymore, or at least they're on the outs. We know that they love one another. We know that they're friends. We know that this is going to get resolved, but not right now because what Penelope did
was awful
and hurtful. And so, but she's apologized, but hey, I think Eloise has accepted her apology, but she's also set up her boundary where she's like, hey, I'm just not going to go there again.
And hey,
and whatever.
Can recognize that. Like, good for, that's also good writing, I think.
But the new friend group and the writing of this character is great. She's not perfect, but at the same time, you start seeing little breaks in that hard facade.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is due to Eloise. And that's beautiful to see. Hey, and all the girls are not on board with Eloise, but I think these two are forming a nice little friendship.
I think it should be more, but we can save that for another.
Maybe it could be.
I think we need some LGBTQIA representation in this show.
For sure. I do not think Penelope is going to be the one who fesses up to it. Yeah. I think she's going to be outed, and I think it's going to be a struggle. I mean, we'll see. That's kind of where I wonder where this is all going with Colin, because he's made it very clear.
Right.
That if he finds out who Whistledown is, that's the end of Whistledown.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's over it.
I think you're right. I don't think Penelope is going to fess up very easily. I think, and this, I watched the fourth episode twice. And, you know, Eloise has a conversation with Cressida where she says, don't you just wish we could do more than be worried about who we're going to marry? Like, we'd have more in-depth conversations. Like, I just wish the world was different. Mm-hmm. Whole thing. And then Cressida sees that Lord Devling has left Penelope on the dance floor, and Cressida's like, I'll be right back.
Yeah, that was so great. I love that.
You know, I think we've seen in the trailer, Eloise is putting pressure on Penelope. She's like, you tell him or I'm going to.
Yeah.
I think at the 11th hour before, I don't know how it's going to go down necessarily. I think Cressida is going to have found out that it's Penelope. She's going to go to the queen.
Oh, you think so?
The 11th hour, Penelope's going to tell Colin. He's going to be devastated, and she's going to say, look, I'm just going to out myself and be done. Mm-hmm. But in the mid, there's going to be some kind of standoff. They're all going to be in front of the queen, and Eloise. I think Eloise is going to step forward and say, I'm Lady Whistledown.
Okay.
And she's going to take the fall because she's over the marriage mart.
You think they're going to believe her?
Yeah, because she's always been kind of weird and quirky and writes and like hates society.
Yeah.
Right. And she's been very vocal about it. Mm-hmm. I think she's doing it to save her some time from being another year out, having to not get another marriage proposal. She's over it. If she's revealed as Lady Whistledown, she's going to be persona non grata in society. Non grata. Yeah. It saves her brother the embarrassment, because we see in the trailers, there's a moment where they say, you know, Colin Bridgerton is engaged to Penelope Featherington.
Yeah, no, it's official.
So if it comes out that she's Lady Whistledown, that's massive embarrassment for her brother. I think she steps up to give herself some time, save her brother from embarrassment. And then as far as what happens after that, I don't know how Colin and Penelope come back from it.
That's a good question. Really kind of bond.
Apparently there's another hot carriage scene coming. I don't know what it entails, but it's
I don't even want to speculate. I mean, I didn't see this one coming, but
okay. Subplots. So subplots. What were your favorite subplots?
The Naturalist.
I love Lord Devling.
Okay,
he's great.
So refreshing. I wish that this character would have more development in this season, but maybe there's more to come with him in the future seasons. Although it seems like probably not, because they keep talking about his voyage to the North Passage. But yeah. His straightforward nature,
he's great,
though harsh at times, was so refreshing and added to the dynamic in a way that I was like, hey, it's great to have a character like this. This is where I think he had more chemistry with Penelope right off the bat, because he appreciated her for her honesty, her frankness, her genuine nature. And that's what he's looking for.
Yeah.
And I really hope that was going to go someplace else.
Really, I thought they were going to drag that out more. Well, and I feel like we know what's going to happen. Cressida is going to get with Lord Devling, and it's going to be a marriage of convenience, like he wants and she wants, and it's going to be fine. That's what I think. That's how that's going to end.
Sure. The other potential,
this is my favorite subplot right here.
A potential romance between Lady Danbury's brother and the Dowager Lady Bridgerton is an exciting subplot for me, because sister needs some loving.
Well, do you remember in Queen Charlotte where they talk about, you know, she's been widowed for so long, and there's like a scene about your flower still blooming and things like that.
Yeah.
And her and the actor who play, you know, Danbury's brother have great chemistry.
They're again two actors on screen that have great chemistry.
And I mean, I want to know more about why Lady Danbury so anti? Like, she is not happy that he's there.
He did something.
What do you think it is?
I mean, it's got to be bad for Danbury not to be like trying to sell her brother off to Lady Bridgerton, because she loves Lady Bridgerton. So
something's up.
And Lady Bridgerton didn't even know that she had a brother.
Well, that's the thing. And then when she talks about how, you know, your sister's kind of a mover and a shaker around here, and he's like, what?
Really?
Yeah, really?
So lots of question marks, but I love where this is going.
Do you think they're ever going to reveal that Agatha, Lady Danbury, had that quick affair with Violet's dad?
Man, I really hope so.
I loved
Lady Danbury.
She's great.
Want to escape from the ball with her when no one else is looking, get in her carriage, go home.
Not the carriage.
Careful. Not that carriage. Get comfortable, have a glass of cognac in front of the fireplace, let her hair down, smoke a blunt.
Hell yeah.
Just talk about shit that she doesn't talk about with anyone else.
I love that.
I am here for her. She's
great.
One of my favorite characters. Her and the Queen both just seem like they got their shit together.
I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these were kind of my thoughts on Bridgerton season 3. Thank you for going through them with me.
Yes, I'm, you know, to pull the curtain back, I was originally going to talk about something else, but when Ryan finished it and had all these amazing thoughts, I was like, can we please just talk about Bridgerton season 3? Because that's one of the things I love about watching things with you or watching things at the same time, is I feel like you catch things that I don't, and you have perspectives that make me think. And so I really appreciate these conversations. So
I love all the subtle stuff that's in here. And this is, you know, it makes for a great show. So
it's great.
I'm not trying to nitpick, because I don't really want to pick this show apart, because it is what it is. I love that it's light. I love that it's airy. I love that it's a bit modern and forward. Again, it's a retelling of the Regency, which we've had enough of. Like, hey,
yes,
the patriarchy. I love that there's diversity. There's people of color. There's people of all different.
We have modern music played by string quartets.
Music,
yeah,
people. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder in so many different ways, and everyone is just very open and loving and accepting in these terms. And hey, that's great.
Need more of that.
It's very lighthearted, and I'm here for it. I feel like maybe there's a lot that's missing between the books and the series that kind of put those question marks in my mind. But all in all, I mean, I have to say this. There were a few moments that left me really wanting more. This season's strength, especially its deep dive into peripheral relationships, make it an engaging season. Jenny.
It sure does. Here. So shall we have a turn about the room?
Well, hey,
sorry.
What's to say I'm not one to complain about a mid-afternoon tip?
Listen, as hot as it is right now, like a cold, crisp glass of rosé.
I loved that.
Would knock. I know.
Was that Colin that said that?
That was Colin.
That his brother. What's his brother's name? Are we going to see him next season? Is he going to glow up? He seems like he's got something going on with. Oh, that's the other relationship
with the older lady.
With the older gal who's like an engineer and she's got her shit together. I'm like, yeah.
But okay, point of order. I feel like in season 1 they really try to breadcrumb us a little bit that maybe Benedict is bisexual or maybe is leaning towards gay. I don't know. Him. And I feel like they're just going to rip that out from under us. They do so well with physical representation. And when I say physical, I mean different body types.
Yes.
And skin colors. Yeah. You know, the queen, Golda Rochevelle, who plays Queen Charlotte, is black. It's amazing. I love it. Why don't we have any queer characters? If you all are listening, Netflix, Shonda Rhimes, whoever else is doing this, we need some queer characters.
Well, we had one in season 1 and then she was outed and then we never saw her again, right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like,
it was like a taboo. It's like, well, hold on.
And I kind of want Eloise and Cressida to kiss.
Maybe they will. But
yeah, the glow up of it all. All 3 of those brothers have had a glow up since season 1. Do you remember Anthony Bridgerton's sideburns?
Yeah. Okay. What were we watching recently with Anthony Bridgerton? And we were like, wait, that's
was it Broadchurch? No, it was
yes, it was Broadchurch.
It's Broadchurch season 1. He plays the little reporter. You pointed it out. I was like, no, that's not him. And then I looked
wait 1 minute. I know that face.
He's such a baby. And then we still haven't watched. Have you watched Fellow Travelers? I still haven't watched it. Him and Hottie McHot.
Oh, is that the bromance?
More than a bromance.
Well, yeah. I don't know how.
What is that? Matt Bomer. Yeah, where they play a secret couple. Anyway,
good for them.
Bridgerton season 3 now on Netflix, which I think they only have the first 4 episodes as of this podcast recording. The back 4 of the season will come out.
Stay tuned, and we'll have a special guest when we wrap up season 3 of Bridgerton. So stay tuned for a special guest for that.
Yeah.
What else are we into, Jenny?
Okay, I'm really into the band Khruangbin from Houston. I first heard them a couple years ago. They did a collaboration with Leon Bridges, another Texas artist, called Texas Sun. I loved that song. And recently, it's summertime. We were in the pool a lot. Put on a playlist of just some chill music, and Khruangbin Radio was a suggestion, and I played it, and I've been really digging them.
Yeah, they're great.
And it's kind of electronic, but very chill, psychedelic, surf vibes.
Yeah, it's very surf, California, chill.
Yes, I really, really like the song Maria Tambien.
Surf rock.
It's just, it's hot as blue blazes in Texas right now.
It is, y'all.
You can close your eyes and listen to that music and just kind of vibe. And yeah, that's what I'm into right now. Besides Bridgerton season 3 is Khruangbin. Check them out.
I love that. And when I saw your outline notes for this episode, I was real excited because these folks have been literally on my playlist for a number of years now. And I didn't know that they had been the ones who partnered up with Leon Bridges for Texas Sun.
Yeah.
But now it kind of comes full circle. It makes full sense.
So
I love that.
So good.
Super chill. Go check them out on Spotify or your favorite streaming device, or buy their album, even more importantly.
Yes, please support artists by buying their albums when you can. Yeah. Ryan, what are you into this week? It's kind of a theme, both chill things I can say.
I found out about the UCLA Mindful app from my therapist.
Ooh.
It's an excellent tool that was developed by UCLA's Mindful Awareness Research Center.
Okay.
Scientists, educators, like putting full thought into meditation and mindfulness, and
not charlatans looking at you, Jay Shetty.
No. So this app was put together by this research team for practicing mindfulness and meditation anywhere, and it's free. It offers users like features to basic meditations for beginners, for illness meditations, for health challenges. So if you've got, something that you're struggling with, there are educational videos about how to meditate, or best practices and techniques to get into that. If you find it difficult, because a lot of people, especially me, I can't meditate on my own. I need a guided meditation because the thoughts in my head just kind of keep going and going and going. But it talks about the science behind mindfulness. There's also a built-in timer, so you can do solo sessions.
Oh, nice.
But it's all backed in solid research. And the app just kind of helps reduce my stress and anxiety and improve overall well-being. And anyway, so you can take it with you. You can put it in your pocket and download it on your favorite app store, whether that's Google or Apple.
Oh, nice. But I love that it's free.
It's free.
That's cool because I have the Calm app, and that is not free. And I mainly use it for sleep stories at night. And I have the Peloton app, and they have meditation. I struggle with meditation too, for the same reasons you said. I have very intrusive racing thoughts. Yeah. And I find when I do it, it does help. So that's really nice that that's a free app, because I think that keeps a lot of people from engaging in some of those practices. Yeah.
My therapist uses this app, and she recommended it to me, and it's free, and it was put together by a team of researchers.
Right.
And, you're going to benefit from it. And I have.
That's awesome.
So that's what I'm into this week. I highly recommend it to you and to everyone else.
Yeah. So check out Khruangbin and check out the UCLA Mindful app.
Yeah.
Okay. On a not as exciting note, Ryan, what is Unhinged in your world this week?
Okay. Dracula on Netflix.
I saw this in the outline, and I'm like, what is he talking about?
Okay. It's summer. It's not October. It's not Halloween. It's not Dracula season. But sometimes you just need something that's kind of good and engaging just to kind of take you away. This show had excellent reviews.
Okay.
It was only 3 episodes, and I thought, this has got to be terrible.
Right.
No, they're like 3 hour-and-a-half episodes. This was completely unhinged.
Live action or animated?
It's live. It is live. And boy, howdy, does it just completely make you wonder what the fuck you're watching, because it bounces timelines.
Oh.
It's a retelling of Bram Stoker's story, right?
Yeah.
But it's done so in almost a farcical sense.
Okay.
And I'm like, after episode 2, I'm thinking, I'm not going to watch this anymore. And then episode 2 ends, and I'm like, okay, well, I gotta know what happens. So I go into episode 3. It's unhinged. It's all over the place. You think this is just going to be a simple retelling of the story of Dracula. It is not. It spans multiple decades, centuries, and timelines, and it's just kind of weird.
Okay, well.
Okay, don't watch it.
Yeah, I mean, mine's not going to be nearly as exciting. It's the weather in the state of Texas.
Fuck,
it
hot.
Is, as of today, what is today? It is May 27th, the year of our Slayer 2024. It is over 100 degrees already. You can't even be outside. It is bloody hot. The sun is baking. It's just miserable.
It's miserable.
It's unhinged.
I'm hot when I'm inside.
Yes.
No, it's terrible.
It's terrible. It's so hot, and it's just summer is barely beginning.
Yeah. Well, buckle up, Buttercup.
It's unhinged, and it's a hellscape in this state right now.
Okay, Jenny.
Ryan. Sorry.
Thank you for tuning in to Once More Unhinged. These episodes come out every Wednesday. Be sure to check out our latest episodes of Once More, a Rewatch podcast, which come out every Friday. We will be covering Buffy the Vampire Slayer season 2.
This is a good one this week, guys.
I'm Ryan something.
And I'm Jen Katz. Bye.
Bye. Go get yourself an afternoon tittle.
Or a tipple.